Hello, everyone. Before we begin, it is imperative to take a moment that we acknowledge the land in which we are on. We respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we gather as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk and the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and the Beothuk. We would also like to recognize the Inuit of Nunatsiavut and Nunaktavut and the Innu of Ninatsinan as their ancestors as the original people of Labrador. We strive for respectful relationships with all the peoples in this province as we search for collective healing and true reconciliation and honor this beautiful land together. Hello, everyone. My name is Jillian Aylward. My pronouns are she, her, and welcome to Be a Professional, a Facebook Live series brought to you by the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences. In conversation with HSS alumni who have forged a unique path for themselves, this show is all about exploring the opportunities that await Bachelor of Arts students as they set out on their professional career journey. First of all, I hope everyone's doing all right amongst the new restrictions. I know that it was difficult for me to hear that we are going back into lockdown, so I just wanted to let you guys all know that even though we're apart, you're not alone. The Student Wellness and Counseling Center, also the SWCC as it's known, has been a great help for me during my time at Memorial, and I encourage you all to explore the supports and resources available at their website, mun.ca/studentwellness. This week at Memorial is Career Week. There are tons of events and workshops being held that can help you develop many of the skills that we're going to talk about today and as we've talked about in past episodes of this show. The more I learn about the different career paths that await me after I complete my BA, the more excited I am for life after graduation. Be sure to check out the MUN Students Facebook and Twitter pages for more information. Today's guest is Maria Roach, who currently works as a human resource technician for Securitas Transportation and Aviation Security, which we will be abbreviating to STAS for this show. Maria began at Memorial in 2014, pursuing a Bachelor of Arts where she majored in psychology and minored in sociology. During her undergrad, she took a particular interest in the areas of social cognition and graduated with her BA in the spring of 2018. By the fall of 2018, Maria was back at Memorial working full-time towards her master's in employment relations, also known as an MER, lots of abbreviations today. After finishing her master's in August of 2019, Maria combined her interest with people and her interest with business and set out on a career in human resources. Shortly after graduation, she landed her current position as human resource technician at Securitas Transportation, STAS, where she has been working ever since. If you folks out there watching have any questions that you'd like to ask Maria, be sure to put them in the comments section. We would love to hear from you as always. Welcome, Maria. Thank you so much for joining me today. How's it going?
Thanks, Jillian. I'm really happy to be here.
Good.
I'm excited.
Yes, it's another stormy day in St. John's, but hey, if we were in person, we wouldn't have actually been able to do this today. So
that's true.
One
the benefits
positive.
of being home.
Exactly.
For
right.
sure.
You got to find them where you can. So I'd like to first start talking or to get a better idea about what you do as an HR technician with STAS. What kind of work does your career entail?
So broadly, HR is essentially the neutral third party in the company that works with management and staff so that they can ensure business needs are met and to ensure that both sides are satisfied. So in my role specifically as HR technician, I've been pretty lucky because I've been able to touch on a lot of the different areas of human resources. So I've done a bit of recruitment and onboarding. I've done a little bit with occupational health and safety as well as workers' compensation benefits, attendance management, employee meetings, labor relations, so dealing with unions and collective bargaining agreements and things like that. And so right now my focus is primarily on attendance management, and then within that, employee morale and finding solutions to boost employee morale within the company.
That's wicked. That's a really great area to be focused in, because I feel like especially this year, employees are increasingly kind of getting lower in the morale. At least, everyone's really feeling it.
Absolutely.
So yeah. What's the most challenging or maybe surprising aspect of your career so far?
So I think the most challenging thing, though it's not a total surprise to me, I kind of expected it while going in, but I think the most challenging thing is trying to figure out how to deal with each individual person. So particularly when dealing with attendance management, which is what I do as my main task. I have meetings with employees who maybe haven't been attending work as regularly as we might like, and we try to find solutions for each person that might help them be able to come more often. So I'll give you an example. If somebody is having trouble getting to work because of their anxiety levels, for one person, the solution might be that they feel they need to take time off from work until they've kind of been able to get that mental refresh, that break. But then other people find that having that time off from work actually makes it worse because they're left on their own. So
Yes.
I guess that is the most challenging thing, is finding what each person needs and finding a specific kind of route for them. There's no cookie cutter template that you can use for every person. So
Absolutely. And I feel like that's why work in HR is so important, because I think that a lot of jobs kind of like to put a cookie cutter to make things easier for people. But the reality is that we all have different lived experiences and we all deal with things differently. So that's lovely to hear that that's the work that you're doing. So I guess to that, that's a great segue to my next question. Are there any misconceptions about a career in HR?
definitely. The biggest one, I hear it so frequently, even from my own brothers, I hear it all the time, is that a lot of people think that HR is just an extension of management. So they kind of feel
Yeah.
like HR is essentially the backup to the management. So if the manager says something, that HR is just going to come and reinforce that decision. But that's absolutely not the case, or shouldn't be the case. HR is meant to be neutral. We're meant to be there to promote the business moving forward. So sometimes that means that it might be supporting the management, but sometimes it's supporting the employees. So we follow labor laws, we follow collective bargaining agreements, things like that, to ensure that things are being done the correct way. I find it pretty disappointing when I hear things like employees aren't comfortable talking to their HR or something because they think that it's kind of the same as talking to management, but that's something that I know a lot of people in HR, anyone that I've talked to, like that's something that we really try to change that mindset within the company to make sure that people understand that HR is here to help everybody.
Yes, absolutely. Kind of like how elections in Newfoundland is an impartial third party. You're like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wicked. So within a span of 5 years, you were able to complete 2 degrees and then also kind of kickstart your career, all kind of snowballed into one. I'm very impressed. What did you do to stay focused and motivated to complete both degrees so quickly?
So I think one thing that really helped was that I had a good understanding of myself. So going through my degrees, in terms of focus, I knew that for me to really succeed, I needed to have a balance in my life. So a lot of people, I think, when they're students, they think like school has to be my thing. Like I will not go out on the weekends. I will just study until 5 o'clock in the morning. But I knew that for me, that wasn't going to work. So I knew like I needed to balance my part-time jobs. I needed to balance my studies, and I needed to balance my social life so that the next morning when I woke up, I would be refreshed and I wouldn't feel like school owned me. So I think that helped me stay focused, just having that balance. And then in terms of motivation, I knew that I wanted to get into my career as soon as possible. I was working uh, throughout while I was in school. I was working a part-time job, and I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work. And
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want to do that for a very long time. So that
No,
was
of course
a great motivator to try to stay on track and ensure that like I was getting my work done and taking those steps to move forward.
That's wicked. Yeah, I'm very much the same type of person where I kind of need to be doing a bunch of different things in order to feel like I'm doing school. But of course, with remote learning and everything, the blurred lines of a work-life balance have definitely made it more difficult for students. So that's a really great way to put it, is knowing yourself and just putting yourself before school and everything else. That's so important, because you're not going to have a career if you're not there.
No, exactly. That's true.
Yeah. So, and to that end, there's kind of this trope that you had to finish your undergrad within 4 years. I'm much more of a stop and smell the roses type of person. I am in my fourth year, but I cannot see the end yet. So, but also that's okay for me. And the more time I spent at Memorial, the more I find that there's like tons of different resources and clubs and different opportunities available. Like last week, I found that we have access to ancestry databases. I had no idea. Very interesting. Yeah. So I guess my question is there an opportunity or an experience that you wish that you had taken advantage of, or that you would like urge students to kind of go out and seek before they finish up at Memorial?
I think I do kind of wish that I had taken more time to explore the different opportunities that MUN does offer. So, for example, honors programs and different master's programs. I did my Bachelor of Arts, and I knew that I was doing psychology with my minor in sociology, and I just kind of went into it, and I thought, okay, this is it. I'll do my major and my minor, and graduate, and that'll be it. And it was late in my fourth year that I thought, gosh, like, why didn't I look into doing my honors or something like that? So I think I wish that I had looked at that sooner. So I definitely would encourage students to earlier on in their degree kind of consider those options, like what does MUN have to offer? Different programs, different masters, because when you start getting an idea of if you're interested in doing a master's, you can get an idea of prerequisites that you might need to do, and then you can kind of base your undergrad courses around that. So that would be, I guess, my biggest regret was not taking the time to look into that as much as I could have.
That's an awesome answer that leads directly into a Facebook question that we just got.
Okay.
So somebody on Facebook is wondering, a lot of students think that a BA in psych only leads to a career as a psychologist or a counselor. You are a great example that leads to other options. Did you always intend to go into a career in HR, or how did you get interested in this field?
So I actually didn't. When I completed high school and we had our meetings with the academic advisors to determine what courses to start taking, at that point, I was like, I'm going to be a marriage and family therapist. This is what I want to do. I'm going for it. And then I started school. I started looking at it. I started looking at different programs that offered marriage and family therapy throughout Canada. And I realized I wasn't nearly as interested as I thought I was. And then I started thinking, okay, well, I'm doing my psychology, my sociology. I love what I'm learning in these courses. What else can I do with this? And then I started looking at the different programs. I think I was probably in my third year when I found out about the Masters in Employment Relations program. I read the description. I started talking to, I sent a quick email to the director of the program, and I was like, this is really interesting. This is what I want to do. So I found that psychology was perfect. I found that it's really helped me in my current position, and definitely glad that I was able to take this route.
That's wicked. And I want to highlight what you just said, which is send a quick email. If you want anything, especially in Newfoundland, just email the person. Just do it. The worst they can do is not respond or say no. That's all. And quite honestly, people love to know that you're interested in it, and that's going to help you further on, because they know that you're passionate when you show up again and again. So I wonder if you have like a highlight of your time at Memorial, or like a favorite part.
Besides walking across the stage and getting my degree, I would probably have to say, I think that's what everybody would definitely point to as a highlight. But during the actual schooling, I wouldn't be able to say a specific event per se, but I think just like I found that studying psychology was so interesting to me. When I started my BA in first year, I had no idea what psychology even was. I was kind of like, this seems interesting, but who knows? I'll give it a try, see how it goes. And I found that just over the course of 4 years, that studying it and looking more into it, it just kind of brought about a passion. And so to me, the highlight of that would just be finding that interest and finding something that even now that I'm finished school, I will still read articles and I'll still look into textbooks and stuff like that because I find it interesting. And so I'm glad that I kind of found that. It was, during lockdown this last year, it's been nice to kind of have something that you can do to occupy your mind. And so I guess that would be my highlight, is finding something that I was interested in.
Yeah, and there's so many different niches, and like I find once you get to the upper level courses as well, especially in a BA, you get a lot of freedom to choose what it is that you want to study or research or go into. So for example, I'm a communications major. I didn't know what communications was when I took my first class. I was like, pardon me. And then I had to write an essay about Lady Gaga and Beyonce, and I said, this is a subject? Anyways, but it's much more than that, I promise. But I found like a love for communication. So I relate to that. So you mentioned that your current role with STAS combines both your love of people. Oh, you kind of just answered this, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Your love of people and your interest in business, and finding that niche within your degree or an aspect that you are particularly passionate about is really a key. And you kind of said what to say but students that do struggle with this, especially in this remote setting where it's kind of difficult to find, something that you're going to be so passionate about because, it all kind of seems the same. Do you have any particular advice?
Yeah, I think one thing a lot of people get stuck on is that they do kind of think that the name of their degree is what they are. So to give the example that the student just gave was psychology doesn't equal psychologist, or sociology doesn't equal sociologist. There are so many different routes that you can take. And I think a lot of people kind of get stuck on that. So I guess my suggestion there would be consider while you're doing your courses, think about different subjects, think about different projects, even certain research that you might have done throughout your course loads. Any little tiny thing of that you might find to be interesting to you, start researching that thing and see what you can do with it. So for me, I found particularly social psychology was what I was most interested in throughout my course load. So I started kind of looking as to what I can do with that. I started taking routes that could bring me further in that. So like I found motivation and how people think, like that was what kind of just brought my interest. And that's something that I do deal with in my current position. I have to think about, okay, so why are you not coming to work? What might be causing you to not want to be here, or that kind of a thing. So I think just kind of finding that, even if it's the smallest thing, just finding that thing and moving forward with that. That would be my best advice there.
Yes, because even we need people to do even the smallest of jobs, because no job is really too small, because they're all important. We have another question from Facebook. So you did a minor in sociology. How did having that minor add to your studies, and does what you learned in your minor come into your HR role now? That's basically the next question I had. Someone read my mind.
Okay. Yeah, I think sociology, still a lot of people I think that do psychology degrees in the arts program, because you can also do psychology through science. I chose to do it through arts. A lot of people who do it through arts, I think a lot of times will do sociology as their minor, because it kind of goes hand in hand. Sociology, a lot of what's helping me now in my current position is the information on like society and prejudices and things like that, kind of understanding society as a whole in order to focus on smaller people, if that makes sense. Like, in order to focus on a niche group, you can kind of get that understanding. So I do find that having that minor is helpful. Of course, I didn't go into as much detail because it was my minor. I didn't get to do as many courses in that as I did with my psychology, but it's certainly added to my success, I think.
Yes, and everything I've learned about sociology, my roommate is a sociology major, so I find there's always kind of connections between the two, and that's so fascinating. So I suppose you also technically almost answered this question again, but what kind of skills did you develop during your BA that helped you get to where you are today? And also kind of helped you in your master's as well, those foundational ones.
So I think skills that are almost somewhat unique to BA students are the writing skills that you develop. Of course, in every program, you have to do some writing, but I think because you do so many different types of papers, you learn, for me, I use that every single day when I'm writing letters to employees, when I'm writing emails to my coworkers, when I'm writing something, I need to seem professional. My writing skills have been improved so much. And I do think that's something that is unique to art students that really helped in my master's as well, because for anyone who doesn't know, the employment relations program is multidisciplinary. So it does business, it has sociology courses, history courses, economics, everything. So having that background of being able to write long papers and everything, that definitely helped during my master's. So that's one skill. I think also time management. Again, you're writing long papers. These are things that take time. It's not just studying for 1 or 2 exams. It's weeks sometimes doing research and putting the research together. So that has helped me to just juggle different tasks and figure out kind of prioritization and things like that. That's definitely helped. And additionally, soft skills. So throughout my BA, you take so many different electives and everything like that, that you just learn so much about the world. You learn about other cultures. You learn about how people think, how they do things, why they do things. And these are soft skills that you might not be able to have it in numbers, how it impacts your job. Like you might not be able to quantify it, but I think every single day I find that that impacts my work. So I definitely think my BA has helped me develop skills.
That was a fantastic answer. Thank you. And I think also, like, for example, I was asked, I had a job interview with the federal government last week, and they asked me if you were given 2 big assignments and both were due on Friday, and you knew that you couldn't complete them in time by Tuesday, what would you do?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is a fantastic question that I feel like I could apply to my Bachelor of Arts. So thank you for asking that. I wasn't completely confident in what I would do, but I just said I would explain my best, let people know what's going on. So I guess this time of year, students are in the thick of deciding whether or not they're going to take some time off, or if they're going to go right into the professional world, if they're going to keep going on to a master's program right away. A lot of decisions happening. And I know that these decisions are very far from easy to make for a lot of students. So do you have any advice to students who are trying to balance their undergrad course loads and, like you mentioned, their part-time jobs and social lives, while also still trying to apply to graduate schools and even find out if that's what they really want?
Yeah, so I think the first thing you need to consider is the master something that you want to do? A lot of people might think, oh, I have to, but there's so many different things you can do without doing a master. So consider if it's something that you are absolutely committed to, because I think that once you get into doing your master's, the course load is pretty heavy, the workload is heavier. And so if you're not fully committed to it, you will find it more challenging. So you do need to ensure that that's something you want to do, I think. And then the second thing, I think, is to consider, do you see yourself going back to school? If you do take the time off, do you see yourself going back to school 10 or 20 years down the road to complete the program? So in my case, for example, I didn't. I knew that if I finished school, I was not going to want to come back to school in 10 years. So I said, I have to do this now. And then I was able to start out my career with that. So that would be my first advice. And then in terms of balancing your workload, I think take it in steps. Don't make your application process feel like it's going to be overwhelming. So do your research first, figure out what schools you're interested, what programs you're interested in, get that out of the way. Then once you have it narrowed down, you can start looking at the requirements that you need to do, and then do the easy stuff first. So fill out forms, get your references together, things like that. Because once you do those things, you'll feel like you're being productive. You'll feel like you're getting something done. And then once you have those out of the way, start doing the harder stuff. So start the essay writing and things like that. And then you can kind of focus on that. Maybe take a weekend, maybe take an evening and take that time to focus on writing your essays then. But don't make it seem like you have to do either your applications or your schoolwork. Kind of balance it and figure out where you can kind of fit it in. And then, of course, keep in mind that sometimes what you use for one application can also be helpful in the other. So if you took the time to get your transcript and get your references, those can be used in the next application as well. So whatever you do for the first one will make the next one much easier. So I think don't stress about it and just take your time with it.
Okay, that's honestly, take it in steps. And because honestly, the research process is honestly the hardest work, especially if you haven't done that groundwork. When you get to the end and you are going to sit down and do it all at once, it's so overwhelming. So that's some fantastic advice. What time is it? Oh my gosh, we are almost out of time. Let me check my script. Well, that's fantastic, because that is the last question that I had for you.
Perfect.
So unless anyone on Facebook has a little last minute question, Thank you so much for chatting with me and answering my questions. This has been great. You have some fantastic advice that I think everybody can take a little piece of from. So thank you so very much. And thank you to everyone who tuned in on Facebook. I really appreciate the engagement and support. Your questions today were fantastic. Keep it up, keep coming in, keep tuning in. I really appreciate it all. Be sure to check out all the upcoming Career Week events and workshops. It's a great time to put yourself out there. I do know that federal government is hiring, and you can go on the MUN job board and take a look through there. And even if you don't want a job with the federal government, their interviews they build so many skills, and they're really, really helpful. So even putting yourself out that way. And I think that is pretty much everything. We will be back here later this month with Tama Fost, who works at the Indigenous Resource Center. And I hope that you all have a great week. You take care, take some breaks, and I will see you all next time. All the best. Bye-bye.